Thank you for coming once again, and welcome to this session, which is on the gadgets and technology that our students use. Thank you so much for raising your hand. Uh, I've just lowered your hands just in case you are here for the first time. I can see some new faces here. So if you're here for the first time, uh, just wanted to make sure that you know how this works. You will have to raise your hand in case you have any questions, or if you just want to ask for the microphone rights. In any case, I will pass on the speaking rights to you whenever there is any question that I want you to answer, and you can do that. You can also use the chat module or the questions module that you can see on your panel. You can put in questions and I'll try to answer them as and when they come along. But always preferable that you do raise your hand and ask your questions right away. If you have any concerns about the audio or the streaming that is happening, again, please let me know by raising your hand and we can try to resolve that. All right, so without wasting any more time, let me just move on to today's session. Before I do that, let me also do a brief introduction about my own interests. I've been with the education domain for quite a while, and in my experience as a teacher and as an administrator in a school, I have been dealing with students as you all must have been doing in your daily life. I have been dealing with students and I found there is a distinct pattern of using technology more and more as we are progressing towards the next century. And I felt that there was a need to at least acclimatize ourselves with the kind of technology that they use. And by technology, I don't really mean the cars that you drive or the the defense establishments that have been making so much of progress. I'm talking about the technology and the gadgets that they use in their daily lives. How does that influence learning? That is my focus area today. At any point of time, if you have anything to add to what I'm saying, please feel free to do that. While we do the session today, I think the focus will be on experiencing it ourselves. And then trying to find out whether we have been updating ourselves as well or not. So let me just move on to the next slide here. Now this is one slide that is supposed to scare you off, right? I'm sure anybody who does not like to be on the computer for a long time will get scared off with all of these things here. And that was the whole intention. I'm trying to give you a kind of shock treatment by showing you what all things are available. Although most of these are not really used by our children, our students, but I felt that showing this kind of a clutter would make the right pitch for the session today. Do you recognize some of these at least? Do you think there are some of the things that you know of? Maybe what I can do is I can also pass on the whiteboard rights to you, and you can possibly just scribble using the pen that you have. Maybe you can scribble and so what I've done is I've just allowed you a pen. Okay, so you can actually use your mouse, although you don't have a pen, digital pen that I have. But if you can just see if you can mark things which you are familiar with. Okay, I've just given you all of you the writing. Okay, I can see that there is somebody who has marked the first one, the easiest one, which is Facebook. Obviously, most of us would be on Facebook. and I guess that's what makes it so easy to recognize. So I am going to highlight them whenever you mark something here. So Facebook, somebody highlighted. Is there anything else that you can look at? Is there anything that you recognize? Please hurry up if you have any other. Okay, I can see that this is turning out to be a interesting game like situation where, because you're trying to figure out which ones are familiar ones, and I can see somebody noted down Gmail. All right. Is there anything else? Some of you who have been using the mobile phones extensively might also recognize a few brands there, which are specific to mobiles. But let me also try and do a few of them. Maybe you didn't notice this, but there is a Wikipedia somewhere. So let me mark that for you. It's here, Wikipedia, that I'm sure most of you would recognize rather. Is there anything else that you can figure out? There are some of those popular ones. There is Flickr here, which probably some of you have used. Okay. Anything else that you remember? Some of you might be familiar with Nebo. Then some of you who are interested in music might remember Last FM. Somebody has marked Blog Beat. Wow. Okay. I hope you can use the pen that you have it right now. In fact, I think I'll keep it open all the time, and in case, in fact, in the top row right hand corner, you can see Vimeo. I'm sure you recognize this name from some of the videos that your friends might be sharing. Yeah, YouTube is also there. Absolutely. Okay. So I guess now people are using, trying to recognize things here. Blogbeat, of course, was already there. All right. So let me just move on, and maybe we can try and make some sense out of these. Okay. So now in the next slide, just to also tell you that most of these have been picked up from the internet, so there is no copyright that I own on this. You can see that the this particular slide has been created by Mirna Bard, and the website is mirnabard.com. I like the way this has been aggregated together, categorized in different domains, right? So let's try and understand what are these domains all about. So we can start at right at the top, microblogging, which I'm sure a lot of you might be familiar with. There is this thing called Twitter, which has been making a lot of news. Also, you should also know that Twitter is just 7 years old, and I believe it has crossed some 200 million users. Of course, it's a small number when it comes to comparing it with Facebook, but okay. Now, Twitter, of course, is something that you would remember. There is Wikipedia, which is in publishing. There is microblogging as one category. The other one is publishing. Publishing meaning that you want to share something that you've written. Then there is photo sharing, in which I'm sure a lot of you would remember Picasa or Flickr. A slightly more not so popular one is Photo Bucket, although people use it for very specialized purposes. Then there is aggregator, where you would know that of course Google Reader has been taken off. For some reason they have just removed Google Reader. Dig is still available. Then you have audio. in which iTunes is the most popular one. Then you have video, which is fairly popular among us, and you keep sharing videos from YouTube. I can see there is a raised hand. Let me just... Okay, I can see a raised hand from Thomas. Is there... Thomas, I'm passing on the speaking rights. Your mic is getting activated. Is there any question you have, Thomas?
No.
All right. Okay. I'm sorry. I think I just saw a raised hand, so I thought I'll ask you. No problem. All right. Let me proceed. Okay. So we were on video, and then you have things like live casting, which is basically it is such a powerful tool that you can actually broadcast yourself live to the world, right? Then you have RSS, which I told you Google has shut down its RSS feed. Then you have mobile-based applications, crowdsourcing. Crowdsourcing is basically trying to figure out answers to questions or develop content by allotting it to a lot of people at the same time. One of the most popular things is Yahoo Answers. And in fact, Beyond Teaching has also started something similar for students so that they can get answers to their questions from teachers like yourself. And then there is this fantastic thing called virtual worlds. We'll look at more of this, especially Second Life. The most popular thing that students do today is gaming, and I can tell you that there are so many advances in gaming that you won't probably be able to figure out the difference between real world and virtual world after a while. Search, of course, is a big thing with any internet user, and Google being the most popular one. Conversation apps, you have the chat things with voice, without voice, and so on. So you have Skype as a very popular and very high quality stuff, and of course the older ones like MSN Messenger and Yahoo Messenger. And then of course the big daddy of all, social networking, the Facebook, and of course the LinkedIn, which is more of a professional networking site. All right, so let me also try and bring in some more order into this by focusing on these areas. Okay, so we've covered them, but let me just focus on these few areas. On the top axis, you see conversation as one area. On the right hand side, you have sharing. Now the sharing can be of different types. We'll get into that. At the bottom, you have publishing. So you can publish content. You can actually whatever you've written or whatever you've you try to share it with others. These are more serious stuff, and slide sharing or document sharing and so on. Then you have participation. So let's look at what are these different things. You can also see that there are within the conversation and between conversation and sharing, you have some more stuff here, so in this area you would see that there is microblogging, social networking, discussion based stuff, and so on. So obviously we have also learned microblogging is Twitter, where you have a limited number of characters or words that you can use. You have social networking like Facebook, LinkedIn. Sometime back you had Orkut as well, but now I guess it's almost disappeared. MySpace used to be pretty popular in the US. High Five, another one. And then you have discussion-based sites like Discuss. Again, you have you can obviously say that Yahoo Chat can also be used as a discussion board, but not really strictly that so. Under sharing, you have those video sharing, photo sharing. We've looked at most of these. Let me just highlight the ones that you may not have seen in the last slide. And there is one very popular one which is Delicious. It's right here at the bottom. Delicious is a bookmarking site where you can actually bookmark stuff, your own stuff, and store it on the internet so that you can go back to it whenever you want to. And the best part is you can share it with others. So let's say you have a group of chemistry teachers in different parts of India, and you want to share what all new things that other people discover. You can actually share your bookmarks through Delicious. Another interesting one is, of course, Google Maps, which is very, very popular when it comes to educational applications as well. And then when you come to social gaming, there's something that has been very, very popular nowadays. Farmville is one of the Facebook applications that used to be very, very popular. And then, of course, we'll look at the Second Life as in the case of a virtual world. So these are so many technologies, so many things that your students might be using. I'm not saying that all students use these, but a lot of your students might be using, and it's important that we know what these are. If not just even if you don't want to use it, I think it's important to know what these are. All right. So why social networking? Let me just try and erase the markers here. Then we can. Give me one moment, please. Okay. All right, we'll proceed with this and let's see how it works out. I'm also trying to activate the writing pen for all the ones who are joining in now. You can actually keep writing. If at all you want to write something, please feel free to keep writing or pointing out something here. In fact, I'll keep asking you questions that you can actually write on the board as well. Okay. Okay. All right. So here we go, and let's try to understand why people use social networking. Now, this is the first thing that we are going to tackle because this is the most popular device, popular technology that students as well as us use. Everyone uses Facebook nowadays. Okay, let me just do a very quick poll, and you can raise your hand and tell me whether your answer to the question is yes or no. I want to ask you, how many of you have a Facebook account? Can you just raise your hand? How many of you have a Facebook account? Please raise your hand. You don't have to give me your Facebook account. I'm just asking whether you have a Facebook account or not. And it would be interesting to see how many educationists, teachers use Facebook in their daily lives. All right, I can see that there are quite a few of them, but there are a few. I'm assuming that all of you are teachers here. Some of you don't have a Facebook account, and that's I'm very curious about why do you not have a Facebook account. So let me. Okay, some of you are now raising your hand, but let me lower those hands. Can somebody tell me why anyone who does not have a Facebook account, can you please tell us why did you not open a Facebook account? And I think it would benefit the group a lot if we know what kind of objections or what kind of reservations do you have when, for not opting to open a Facebook account. And I'm saying Facebook as a collective thing for Orkut as well as Facebook. So let's not exclude Orkut. In case you don't have a Facebook or an Orkut account, is there any specific reason why you did not open a Facebook account or an Orkut account? Can somebody just raise your hand, and I can pass on the microphone to you, and you can give us any reason that you have, if you have any specific reason why you did not opt for a social networking account. Anyone? I saw a few people had not raised their hands. Maybe it was not intentional or something, but I can't see any raised hand here to give me an answer to this. I think one of the main answers, main reservations that people have is that it opens up your life to somebody else, you know, and you're not able to keep anything to yourself after you sign on to one of these social networking sites. And you are absolutely right. There are things that you may not want to share with your students, your parents, or your relatives that suddenly is now open in the field, right? That is one very valid reason. But let's just try and understand why do people use social networking, okay? And so let me highlight that here. Why would somebody not use social networking here? Sorry, why would people use social networking? And one of the main reasons for and I'm talking from the student's perspective, one of the main reasons is a feeling of belongingness to a group. You know, you want to identify with a group, and that is why, because all your friends are on Facebook, you're forced to go on Facebook. That is one very big reason for youngsters to sign on Facebook and such sites. The other one is quite contradictory to the first one. Who am I? You know, you need to identify with a group. At the same time, you also want to make sure that people know you as an individual. Now, these two seem to be contradictory, but they're actually not really completely contradictory by themselves, because on one hand, you want to belong to a group. On the other hand, you still want to stand out and tell them what you are, right? And especially for people who are not very communicative, who are reserved and shy in their real life, may just open up on social networking sites. We can always debate on whether that is good or bad, but I tend to believe that sometimes it helps people to open up in real life as well. Third point that I noted was trust. You know, some of these sites also teach you, when you share something on Facebook and somebody else ridicules it, or somebody else makes fun of it, at least you know who to trust in real life as well. Of course, there are vastly different worlds when it comes to virtual life and the real life. But since Facebook is so closely connected to your real life, because you make friends on Facebook who you know most of the times, although you also make friends who you don't know at all, but there is an element of trust that comes in. The fourth point is extremely critical, because you would notice that children who are shy in your classes, they also are very active on Facebook. They tend to be very active on Facebook, and sometimes it comes out as a behavioral pattern, in the sense that if they don't have much of a say in their group, or they are shy enough to accept something, they may just take it out on Facebook by liking or rating or recommending something that comes on the site by their friends. And of course, a lot of people do it just for fun, which is probably the safest thing to do. If you're doing it just for fun, I think it means no harm. But there are serious consequences of using social networking sites, especially when children as young as 10 years old actually end up having a Facebook account by faking their ages, which obviously Facebook cannot really stop. You can also compete on Facebook or such sites by involving yourself in gaming. I know for sure that I have a daughter who is just 13 years old, and she competes with her classmates on Facebook on a particular game. I'm clueless about what was the name of the game, but she tries to better her own scores or her classmates' scores when it comes to that particular game. So there is a kind of competition that goes on such sites as well. Finally, a lot of us actually do this thing which is called activism. I coined this relatively innocuous term called mouse click activism. You had those armchair activists, right, where you just write stuff or you just call somebody and say that you're doing a good job and so on. But here we are talking about mouse click activism, which means that a child or an adult who's not able to participate in a social cause can actually participate, and this has been coming up very well. And there are a lot of websites like Awaz.org that these websites actually cash in on this behavior where people may not be actually involving themselves directly in activism, but they may just click and say I like this or I support this. Okay, so these are the things that people use for connecting on social networking. Okay, and so are these things new? Actually, if you look at networking per se as a concept, it's not new at all. There have been people right from the stage when human beings evolved. I'm sure networking started because networking is such a natural thing to do for human beings, right? So this is how networking started. It's just that we are using it in a new form. Okay. So what happened? I'm sure some of you might remember things that are mentioned here. Initially, of course, there were two people, networking or shaking hands as they call it. And then there was a group. So people sat in groups and then started networking. From here, I don't know how many of you remember. Do you remember using pen friendship as a networking tool? Any of you has ever done pen friendship or pen pals as they call it? Can you just raise your hand? I, for one, did use pen friendship to get across geographies, and it was, of course, a slow mode to do it. But this was a good way to actually know people who you probably could not meet. I can see that Thomas has raised his hand. Is there anyone else who had used pen friendship, pen pals as they call them? All right. Okay, one more. That's good. So a lot of people actually used pen pals. I can see Maruti has also raised hand, and I appreciate. And you can now connect with the thought that Facebook is trying to do the same thing now, right? Facebook is not really much different. It's just that it's making it easier to do it and it's faster. I think most of the concept remains the same. And then, of course, after pen pals or pen friendship, suddenly you see a whole new world opening up because of the mobile, right, and the internet. Because now you have so many things to do together and get network, right? Okay, so there's just a small funny cartoon that I found on the internet. One of the younger chaps is saying, "I've got hundreds of Facebook friends I've never met," and he's so proud of it, and the older gentleman is saying, "When I was young, we called them imaginary friends, or rather the pen friends, as we might call them." So I'll be using a lot of such cartoons to bring home the point. There's another one which is, when you used to come back from a long trip, you only had one thing in mind, that you wanted to sleep and take rest. But now after Facebook has come up, you want to upload those pictures and share it with your friends, and then surprisingly wait for their likes and comments on those pictures instead of taking rest. That has what has changed a lot after social networking. Now let's go beyond Facebook. I think we have been talking about Facebook a lot. Let's go beyond it. Let's see what else lies out there for our children. What they've been using. Okay. So apart from Facebook, I'm sure some of you might know what we are going to discuss now, which is Twitter. Okay. Now Twitter is something very, very curious. For most people, it doesn't make sense. But still, as I told you, in just 7 years, they've got some 200 million people logging on to Twitter. And what Twitter actually does is, as this cartoon says, I do not really have anything interesting to say. So I don't have anything to tell my followers. But let me just post saying the same thing. I can quickly message to inform them that I don't have anything to say. Now this is really funny, and what typically happens on Twitter is very similar. So why tweet? Why do you want to tell the world what you're doing at every point of time? If I am taking a session right now, maybe I'm tweeting it to my followers. We'll come back to what are followers and how do you become a follower and how do you gain followers and so on. But why would I do that? Now this is another illustration of how things have evolved on the communication side. So if you look at the evolution of communication, it has actually evolved in a very funny manner. The first written word must have been inscribed on a stone carving, like this gentleman is doing here. And then they had those old movable typesetting machines. Then somebody thought of these books publishing, which means that you can even do more and more of written work. And then, of course, an electronic form of the same thing. So it got to email. And then finally, we come back to something which is Twitter. And you can see that the attire has also been reversing, right? So the Twitter fellow here is almost wearing the same stuff that the earlier, the ancestors were using. And the most funny part about it is 140 characters. What more is there to say? So you are just trying to say something in as little space as possible, and that's what these Stone Age people were trying to do, because they didn't really have those kind of technologies to express themselves more and more. But we have come back to a world where we want to say less and less. We could debate on whether that's good or bad. Let's just see what exactly are the reasons why people tweet. And I would actually request you to open another browser on your machine and see if you can quickly sign on to Twitter. Okay, you can actually go on to another browser, quickly sign on to Twitter, and see what exactly is it. If you don't want to do it right away, you can maybe wait for the session to get over, but you can obviously try and do that. Let me also share my Twitter handle with you, as they call it. My Twitter handle is, so you just like you have a Mr. or Miss in front of your name in real world, on Twitter they have this @ sign. So my Twitter handle is Anirudh Phadke. In fact, Beyond Teaching also has a Twitter account, and it's called Tweeting BT. Although I'm not sure if it's very active nowadays, but we try to tweet once in a while. Now, why would somebody tweet? Of course, the same reason why you had SMS. Now, SMS obviously has a limitation in the sense that you can only send so much of length in one SMS. Of course, you can do multiple SMSs in one shot, but typically you would keep it short, right? And you would also know that children today use short forms. So BRB is be right back in chat, or GM is good morning, right? So things like these. Obviously, there is a tendency to shorten everything because of lack of time, probably, and it makes for an instant communication. So you don't really have to wait to write the entire thing, back, right, back, be right back, or good morning. So all of this you don't have to spell. You can be very, very quick. Okay. Now, another very, very important point is you feel connected with strangers and celebrities. Now, why would somebody want to do it? Let me just show you my Twitter account, and then you will realize what I'm talking about. Okay. All right. So let me open my Twitter account, and you can see that I have opened a lot of stuff here. So let me just open my Twitter account to show you what I mean by following celebrities. Okay. You will get to see my Twitter account in a while the screen refreshes. Please hold on for a second. And you can see, okay, I think you can see it now. This is my Twitter account. Okay. I can see that most of you can see it now. So what do I do here? I can follow people or organizations that I am interested to follow. So you can see that I am following NASA. Let me highlight this for you. I'm following NASA. I'm following Encyclopedia of Life. And of course, I'm not following Greg Wedman. I don't really know this gentleman, but I follow Edudemic, and so Edudemic found it interesting to retweet it, and so I'm interested in news items, so I am following breaking news, and I'm doing a lot of such stuff, right? So this is how, and you can see that suddenly there is a new tweet that has happened. So there's a new tweet here from TechCrunch, and so on. So let me just try and take you through. Okay, now I was trying to show you what exactly which celebrities I'm trying to follow. Okay, so one of the celebrities that I follow is Barkha Dutt, and you can see that her name is here, second from the top, right? Then there is a celebrity, Mahesh Bhatt. Again, now these are celebrities that I would like to follow, and this is how things turn out on Twitter. Okay, and you can actually you can see those links here, hyperlinks here, which you can expand, and you can actually look at what they were saying in detail, right? You can see I follow a lot of celebrities. Abhishek Bachchan, for one, is on my list. I don't know whether you're able to see it right now. Okay, I'll just wait for the screen to refresh on your screens. Okay, second from the top, you can see Abhishek Bachchan. Now, what is Abhishek Bachchan saying? I can see that Abhishek Bachchan is following some football, and he has tweeted about the Brazilian World Cup. Let me also try to identify some more. Rahul Khanna is another celebrity that I follow, considering him to be an intelligent actor. The third from the bottom. Okay. But there are so many of them that I can follow. I can follow the US President. I can follow the Chief Minister of my state. I can follow anyone that I want to. And this is the beauty of having a Twitter account. Of course, you can always argue that where do I get all the time to read through this, and isn't it really a waste of time? I agree. There is quite a waste of time when it comes to this, but believe me, there is a lot of value that I get from here as well. In fact, one of the things that I must tell you is whenever there is some natural calamity or a terrorist hit anywhere in the world, it is quite likely that you will hear of it from Twitter first, rather than anywhere else. So just the other day, I remember there was this earthquake that had happened in Delhi, and my friends in Delhi quickly tweeted and were on Facebook uh, informing everyone that there is some tremor that they had felt. Of course, you can argue what is the use of knowing all of that for me, but I would be concerned about their safety as well. And if there is, God forbid, if there is any calamity that happens, at least I know where to get help from. I'm sure you've read news stories about how Twitter has helped people in their time of need. Okay, so that is the power of social networking. I can go a lot about social networking benefits, but let's not get into that right now. Let me come back to this slide, and we were talking about feeling connected with strangers and celebrities. Nobody stops you from following anyone. You know, that's the beauty of it. You can actually follow anyone. It's a little scary at times because you get to know everything that the person is trying to say. But I guess that's his choice, right? And then, as I told you, I can be quick on breaking news items, so I can know exactly what is happening anywhere in the world by following the right people. I can also know what are the current trends on Twitter. If you sign on to Twitter, you would see on the left-hand side there is a list of topics that are highlighted on Twitter. Specifically, if you're in India, logging in from India, they'll talk about what are the things that are trending in India. So you would see Shamshad Begum trending in India because of her unfortunate death, and so on. I mean, there are so many things that you could keep learning from Twitter as well. All right. Last but not the least, it's very precise. I think it has a lot of value in the sense that you can actually teach your children, or the children when they use Twitter, they actually know how to be very precise and accurate in their language. You don't have to waste your language. You don't have to put in a lot of words to express yourself. If you can put it in 140 characters, I think you've at least learned the language, the art of being precise. Okay. I'm not going to go into the website that I've mentioned here, but just as an aside, I think you might find it interesting to go through it later on to actually know how do teachers use Twitter in education. That's very interesting. All right, let's move on. So we talked about categorizing things. I'm just trying to recapture those thoughts. We've already talked about these, but I'm just trying to reiterate because that was a very cluttered screen, and I'm just trying to figure out or point out things which are very, very popular nowadays. So in photos, there is something called Instagram. Now, all those of you who have an iPhone or an Android phone can actually use this, download this application to share photographs with your friends. Now, the key difference is, of course, you can share photographs on Facebook or Twitter or wherever, but Instagram has become very popular because it allows you to play with those photographs. So you can actually, they have some set templates, so you can make it a black and white photograph. You can play with the photograph in the sense that if you take a photograph of your students, you can actually put on caps on them, or you can put beard. You know, this is how your students might be using it all the time. One of the very, very useful thing to encourage writing skills is blogging. And I know for sure that in the US, there are classrooms that have classroom blogs, which are actually rated by teachers as well. You know, if you ask your students to blog about a particular topic, instead of writing an essay in your classroom, they can actually blog at their own leisure. And you can take that as an evaluation tool as well. That's the power of blogging. And there are so many different types of blogging tools, Blogger, WordPress. Tumblr is, of course, another aggregator, as they call it. Then coming to documents, which is the more serious stuff. You can share your documents scribed is one document sharing site, and then you have SlideShare, which is a very popular site for presentations. So you can actually share this presentation. In fact, we could have gone live on SlideShare by doing this particular webinar on SlideShare itself. That is how powerful these things are becoming. Then there is something called collaboration. I think I told you a bit about Delicious in the last slide, but we'll take a look at Delicious again, because this, I believe, is a very important tool when it comes to students as well as teachers. Of course, again, to pinpoint, although the seminar, the webinar today is about gadgets and technologies that students use, you would find that some of these technologies are not really popular with students because they sound to be so academic in nature. But we can use some of these technologies in our favor as well. I'm sure you've known this this application on phone, which is called WhatsApp. Extremely popular with users today because it allows you to chat without really paying for the chat chat service in your mobile phone operator. The best part is that if you have an internet connection activated on your phone, WhatsApp allows you to do chatting free of cost, right? Just like Skype, Skype is something that is on the mobile phone as well, and you can do video or voice chat, voice call with this. Last but not the least, virtual worlds. Now, this virtual world is a very interesting stuff, which I'll end the webinar with later on, with some snapshots of Second Life. Incidentally, Second Life last year did a transaction among its users of $500 million. Now, you would be surprised about what Second Life actually does, but I would request you to note this down and actually try it yourself, because there are so many educational applications that are involved in Second Life. Okay, a lot of US universities, a lot of very reputed universities like Stanford are on Second Life as well. Okay, let's move on. Now here there is something that I did not highlight here, but there is something called Foursquare. Now, what is Foursquare actually? You can see a screenshot here on your screen that I did on Foursquare. I'll show a live example. In fact, I would recommend that you open another browser and go to Foursquare.com and see what it does. I love to share your screen as well with the others on your experiences of using Foursquare. Okay. I'm just activating the drawing tool for everyone here. Whosoever is joining late, feel free to draw whatever you want to on the screen yourself. Okay. All right. So let me just show you what exactly is Foursquare on a live screen, and then you will appreciate why am I so insisting on you using Foursquare as well. Now, this is something that your students, the more adventurous students, more technology-friendly students might be using already, and that is why I think it's critical that you know how is it used. Okay, so let's go to Foursquare. All right, you will get to see the screen in a moment. Okay, so you can see. Basically, whenever I log into Foursquare, and if I allow the application to know where I am, then you can quickly find out the areas that you might need, the places of interest that you might need around you. Now, in this particular case, I wanted to find out the closest ATM, and you can see there are these ATMs that are being marked on the screen for me. The important point again is that I have actually allowed the system to know my whereabouts, and you can see that there are these ATMs that are being marked and shown around me. The closest, you can see my location is being pointed out here, you can see that there is one small blow up which says you are here with my photograph on it. So the closest one to me is this Kotak Mahindra Bank branch ATM, and it gives me the address, right? So this is how simple it becomes. What you had to do simply was to sign in to this account, maybe using your Facebook account or your Twitter account or whatever, and you're on, right? So let me try and do some interesting stuff here. Maybe instead of using my current location, let me search for Bangalore. Okay, I'm trying to do a live demonstration here. It will take some time on your screen to appear, but let's do Bangalore, and let's do engineering college. Okay, now you can see that engineering college gives me a lot of options, and as soon as I load it, I can see all the engineering colleges in Bangalore that are marked on Foursquare. Okay, you can actually zoom in just like any other Google map or any other map that you know. So the best part is you can actually see all those engineering colleges. Now, more interestingly, if you're connected through Facebook on this, you can actually find out whether any of your friends have been to these engineering colleges. Unfortunately, none of my friends have been to these engineering colleges. When I say have been to, it means that they should have been on Foursquare, and they would have marked that they were here when they were on one of those campuses. Okay, so let's remove that. Let me go to a slightly different search. So I'm searching for coffee in Bangalore. Okay. As soon as I search for coffee in Bangalore, I get so many options, and depending on where I am in Bangalore, I can actually go to the nearest one. Again, let me try my friends have been to. No luck. So let me try going to my current location, which is Indore, and again search for coffee. Okay. Now the interesting part is I have been to this place called Cafe Palette. Okay, and you can see that I have also liked it. Now any of my friends who are on Facebook and also on Foursquare will know that I liked this place, so they would also want to go there because they now have a friend who has approved of it or who liked the coffee that was served there. Okay, again I can say that I want to see only those places where my friends have been to. Again, no luck, but there are so many other options here. Now Foursquare is something that is very friendly for our students. If you, I'm sure you can connect with this application, especially when you're browsing it on your mobile. All modern mobiles will have the facility to download this application on your mobile. You can try it out, and imagine your student walking out of college or school and with his or her friends, and she wants to go to the nearest ATM to take out money or to find out where is the nearest petrol pump that she wants to visit, and she can quickly open Foursquare and it will tell her in a jiffy. More importantly, she can also find out which of her friends have recommended which of the coffee shops or the eating joints that she's trying to go. This makes it a little more easier, safer for other people to follow, right? All right, so let's go back to the presentation that we were doing. And you can see that I did one search for a music school close by, and I could find that there are 2 music schools. And you could see that there is one music school which is very close by, which is called Saregama Music. There's another one which is keys and chords, which is marked as number 2 on this map. All of this makes it very, very easy to search. Okay. So Foursquare is an application that is probably a little new to the students, but I'm sure all those students who are using it would be really, really happy with the application. All right, so let's move on. Again, this is what I'd shown you live, nearest coffee shop, and I found the nearest one was Barista, right across the road. Okay, now moving on, there is something called Tumblr, which is again, you know, you can share anything here. You can go on to Tumblr, sign up, and you can see the number of posts, number of things that have been shared here. It is simply, again, it was founded in 2007, and you can see the numbers that have been posted. There are some 48 billion posts, 104 million blogs that have been shared. Now, these are the kind of numbers that they're talking about in just 6 years. All right. So all of these, I'm just giving you a snapshot so that you can play with them at leisure. We'll also put on the recording of this session so that you can refer to it later and visit them individually if you want to. I have been talking about something called Delicious. Now, Delicious is a bookmarking site. Essentially, whenever you browse and you found something interesting, but you didn't have time to go through it, or you wanted to refer to it later on, you would have stored it as favorites. Now, the problem is with doing that is that when you are logging in from your school or college, and from a machine there, the bookmarks get stored locally. So when you go home and you want to browse the same website on your iPad or your laptop or your home computer, it's lost because you need to wait for, or you'll have to mail those links to you and so on. Now the good part is Delicious actually is an online storing site. So you can actually store it by signing into your account. You just have to sign in once, and then all your browsing sessions, whenever you store something useful as a useful link, you will actually you can view it wherever you are and across all devices that you have. You can even view it from one of those modern mobile phones that you have, right? This is my Delicious account, and you can see I thought it would be important to show you what it is like. On the left hand side, you can see that there are these tags. Now this is what makes it so useful. I have tagged my links with tags like these, okay? And you can see that I can tag it by free, videos, programming, standard, anything, printables. And then the good part is that whenever you want to search for it, you just have to key in those tags, and it will automatically give you all the links that you had made them as favorite. Even better, it also shows the websites that your friends would have made note of, and this makes it particularly useful for teachers, because one of your friends who is also browsing found a great website on chemistry, and the person can actually, if she tags it on Delicious, you can share that same website from wherever you are. All right. Moving on, I told you about Instagram. I just captured the home screen of Instagram.com just to show you what exactly is it. Basically, you can see that there is. What does it do? It says, snap a picture, choose a filter to transform its look and feel, and then post to Instagram. You can share it on Facebook, Twitter, and Tumblr too. It's as easy as pie. It's photo sharing reinvented. So basically, it's so easy that you take a click with your phone. I told you that you can use your iPhone. The application is available on iPhone or an Android phone. You can click it. apply a particular filter to transform the way it looks, and then share it. You know, it's become very, very popular for casual photo sharing. Okay. Moving on, after Instagram, so what are your students using? We've been seeing all of these, but what are they actually using, and what kind of technologies are they using? We've been looking at applications and so on. So let me just categorize them into communication. So you have the latest mobile phones in your students' hands, if they're allowed, of course. And then you have tablets, and there's something new, a new category that has come up, which is called the phablets. Understandably, these are a little larger than phones and a little smaller than the tablets. Okay, lot of your students might already be using these. And then one of the most important technologies, breakthroughs that in our times has been GPS-based systems. I showed you Instagram. I showed you Delicious and so on. There are a lot of such websites which actually use GPS to make sure that you get things which are around you. It becomes very, very topical in that sense. Then there is something called gaming. Now gaming, as I said earlier, I'm not going deeper into gaming, but gaming is something that every adult has seen a child playing, and the kind of virtual reality games that have come up have made it so attractive to play. Obviously, there are two sides of the coin. People also say that there's not a very healthy sign for children's health. On the other hand, there are a lot of educators who are trying to make games, make education possible through games, right? I see a raised hand here, Sri Chandan. I'll just pass on the microphone to you, Sri Chandan. Do you have anything to say? Hello? Hello? Do you have anything to say, Sri Chandan, please? Okay, I see that you're on chat. Maybe your microphone is not working. So in case you have anything to say, please pass it on in the chat module. We'll continue with this. Finally, we have those apps. What they call as apps. You can actually go to any mobile application store, and you can download a lot of apps. A lot of them are free, and a lot of them are also paid. But there are very, very useful apps that that are available. For teachers specifically, if you go and search in your apps directory in Android or an iPhone, iPad, you would see that there are so many apps that are designed specifically for teachers in mind. A lot of them are free of cost, of course. Let's move on. I don't want to get into deeper analysis of these. But here's the interesting part. For the more serious ones, serious students, what do we have here? There are so many websites that I've tried to list down here, and you can go through them at leisure. The first three of them, Alice, Scratch, and Hackety, are basically websites or applications which people use for to learn programming, basics of programming. It's a very user-friendly approach, and I'm sure you've heard Bill Gates talking about the necessity to teach programming to children at a very early stage. Quite a few schools have actually started using these two programs, Alice and Scratch, to train their students on programming skills. Now, why programming skills is because you get to know logic. You get to understand how logic is built. Okay, simple code words is a slightly more coding kind of program. The other two, Alice and Scratch, are very user friendly in the sense that they don't involve writing codes, but simple code works involves some bit of writing. The next one, Arduino, is for electronic circuit boards and so on. You need to purchase an electronic circuit board, or you can build it yourself. And there's a free software that that you can download and start learning electronics at a very early stage. Finally, you have robotics, which is which has been very exciting for children. And on the right hand side, you can see that there is this robot, which is a Mindstorm's Lego robot, which you can program through your computer to behave in a certain fashion. All right. For even more serious ones, of course, the thing that you're going to see now is kind of a double-edged sword. Children can use it for learning, and children can use it for fun stuff as well. This is what I was talking about as Second Life. Now you can see Second Life. This particular slide is a campus built in the virtual world by Indiana University of Pennsylvania. They call it the classroom in the sky on Crimson Island. Basically, this is an imaginary world. The good part is that you can do whatever you want to. You can build castles in the air, as they say, and you can still learn if you want to, right? Now, this is something that has been very popular in universities, among universities. I told you the second world, basically a virtual world for anyone who wants to acquire, a different avatar in a virtual life, can actually log in and move around the place. You can actually buy real estate, what they call as virtual estate, and you need to pay for it. Last I checked was, I think, $10 US, corresponding to about 2,500 Linden dollars. That's the currency that they use in second world. Linden dollars. $10 real dollars is equivalent to 2,500 Linden dollars. And imagine they did a combined business of about $500 million. The real ones, 500 million real dollars. This is how things have been shaping up in the virtual world. Let me show you another snapshot of. Now this is a typical class. You can see that there are so many students with their own avatars. The teachers are also in their own avatars. Interestingly, let me also pinpoint some interesting things. You can see that they are also using a PowerPoint slide. They can also show a video using QuickTime Player, but these are on a slightly different proportion. You can imagine this as if you are a student here. Maybe you are this student here, and she is sitting on a staircase or the dais that is being built in. You can also see that there is one student here who is actually hung in the air. Because this is virtual, so there is no limit on what you can do in this world. You can actually fly around. You can go and touch the other person. You can ask questions. There are, surprisingly, there are people in the virtual world who will actually design clothes for you, who can build a particular stadium or a classroom according to your specifications for yourself. So these are the kind of things that are happening in the virtual world. Let me show you another snapshot before closing today's session. This is another classroom. You can see that because there is no limitation on what you can imagine, your classroom doesn't really have to be in a closed setup. You can actually have a class on a lawn, and you can see that people are sitting on stone benches or wooden benches and so on. The person here who is probably demonstrating something is actually on a wheelchair, if I'm not wrong. You can have live exhibits showing something, some concept. You can have, as we are doing right now, you can actually have a PowerPoint presentation as well, but on a very different proportion, right? Again, as I said, things can be used in whatever form that you want. Second Life has been conceptualized as a very useful tool for distance learning programs, where people don't really either have time or money to actually go into real university, they can enroll in this. If you don't believe me, please browse for secondlife.com, and you can see that there is actually learning happening in these worlds. It's not just for fun. It's also for serious learning. As I told you, there are universities like Stanford that are already in Second Life. And Second Life is not a new technology. I remember seeing Second Life about 10 years back. So you can imagine the kind of advancement that would have happened in Second Life as well. So just to end it all, what did you learn today? And what are you going to use tomorrow in your classroom with your students? That is a question that I'm going to leave you with to ponder over. My only request to you is, when you look at a gadget or a technology in your students' hands, you don't have to always think that it's a very bad thing in a young child's hand. You can turn it into an advantage by making it an educational tool. You can actually use Twitter, as I said. You can go to Google and search for the 10 users of Twitter in your classroom, and you'll find really astonishing things that have been happening in the various parts of the world. One of the language teachers that I remember had put on her blog saying that she had used Twitter to enhance learning in her class by giving them assignments on Twitter. So if I were to tweet a word, let's say I tweet a word learn, and the entire class has to respond to it by giving me synonyms of the word learn or antonyms of the word learn. This is how teachers have been using technology very, very innovatively. I will leave with that thought, and I presume we've closed the session a little early, but I hope the session has been useful to you. Please let me know any concerns or anything that you want to express, or if there is anything that you want to share, please raise your hand and I can pass on the speaking rights to you. You can also use your chat module to make any comments. I'm going to write down my email ID here in case you want to get back to me with any suggestions or any feedback. My email ID is Anirudh. Oops. I'm sorry about the handwriting, but this is probably the best I can manage with the technology that I have here. Anirudh at beyondteaching.com. Oops. Sorry. There are the other webinars that are going to come. Okay, I can see that there is somebody writing as well. I've got company. I'm really happy to see that there is somebody using those pens here. Thank you so much for your patient learning. Anirudh at beyondteaching.com. I would love to have some feedback on the session, and if there's anything else that you want to know, we can hold on for a few more minutes and then we can close the session. Once again, thanks for attending the webinar today. The webinar recording will be available in a couple of days, and you will also get an email. You can actually go to our YouTube channel, BT on Tube. BT on Tube will show you all the recordings of the sessions that we have done till now, and even this one as well. I will try to write down the channel name here. It's called BT on Tube. Okay, I hope you can all see this channel name, BT on Tube. You can go to YouTube and search for BT on Tube and you'll find the channel right there. We'll do the next sessions. We'll deal with one with teaching English with the new technology. We'll try to see if there are any tools on the internet that you can actually use to teach English to your students. One of them is, of course, Twitter, as I told you. The second session will deal with mathematics, teaching mathematics, especially the topic of graphing. Graphing becomes a very, very difficult concept for students because there's more visual, and we'll try to see how we can make it more interesting, easier for students to grasp. All right, thank you so much for attending this session. I'm going to close it in a couple of seconds from now. Thank you. Good night.